Okay, welcome, it's Peter here. I just want to take you through the painless way to use Proxy Professor to get your proxies to use in Mobile Renegade so you can get results. So the first thing is I want to show you a tool that's included with Proxy Professor, which is called at the moment Proxy Spider. I think it should be called Proxy Multiplier because that's actually what it is. So what Proxy Multiplier does is it takes a list of existing proxies and it finds more proxies from that list. I won't explain how or why that works, but that's what it does. So the first thing we need to do is to have a list of proxies, which you can get from anywhere you like. I have my own secret stash over here. Let me just go and get that. Okay, so I'm just getting, it's just a list of proxies. I'm going to download it as a text file basically. Okay, I'm going to overwrite that one. Okay, that's that done. You'll notice that in this file we have 167 proxies, original source proxies. Okay, so we go to Proxy Multiplier or Spider, whatever you want to call it, and we load that list. It was called video something. There it is. Okay, there it is. We can see it's actually 167 proxies. It tells us there. Just going to check our options. We've got a sensible number of threads, a reasonable timeout. You might need to play with those figures depending on your system, but maybe that's a starting point. And that's pretty much all we have to do. We just loaded the list, all these default options are fine, and we check the status. Now what I want you to notice when I click the start button is we're starting with 167 proxies. I click the start button, and what it does is it goes off and it finds more. And you can see on this one it's found 27 there, and it's scanning away. It's found 6,600, whatever that was, 69 proxies on that one there. It's loading this proxy and it's found another 755 there. Anyway, and you can see it's counting down. So it's already found from my original 167 26,143 proxies. As I say, it's a proxy multiplier. Okay, 30,000 proxies now, 41,000 proxies. Now obviously some of these are going to be duplicates, some of these won't work, but you will undoubtedly end up with more than you started with. So I'm just going to let this run. I won't, take up your time by letting you watching the numbers, but you can see it's just gone to that proxy and it's found another 894 related to that one. Okay, and that's kind of what it does. You can already see it's already up to, from my original 167, up to 73,073 proxies. Okay, we'll come back when it's finished. Okay, so it's only actually been a couple of minutes. As you can see, it's up to 151 of my original 167, and it's already found 192,509 proxies. And you can see what it's doing is it's going to other websites which are not, I repeat, not in the existing Proxy Professor list. This list will vary depending on which proxies you put in as the source proxy list. So if everyone uses a different source proxy list, everyone will get a different set of proxy sources, multiplier sources, and end up with a different number of different proxies. Okay, obviously there'll be a margin of overlap, but basically we'll all end up with different results, which is what we want, because then we're all using different kind of proxies. Okay, so basically it's almost finished. It's 207,115. And that's basically it. Okay, so that's now done its business pretty much. If we look to our options again, it saved it to this file called video output. Okay, and there should be 207,000 proxies in there. There is a little magic button here which you can send it straight to Proxy Professor after you've duplicated, but I'm just going to do it here. I'm not quite sure what it's waiting for. It might be just on a courtesy pause there, but anyway, I'm going to stop it there because I don't want to wait for the extra 20 particularly. So I'm just going to stop that, and if I go to the options page here and I remove the duplicates, so we're going in with 207,000, okay, whatever, it's found 54,906 unique. Okay, my original 167, so I put 167 in. Even after all of the duplicates, it's still found 54,906. I don't know what percentage increase that is, but it's a lot. Okay, and they're living in this file here called video output text. So I could send it to Proxy Professor directly. I've chosen not to do that to keep the video simple, because I want you to see how to use Proxy Professor kind of more as a standalone thing. So I'm going to get rid of that now. Just going to call my folder up. So it was called video output. I made a copy of it while it was running just to be safe. I'm just going to do that again. So if I open this file, okay, these are all the proxies, all the port numbers, and we go down to it, and indeed we have 54,907. Okay, there's a couple of blank lines, don't know where they came from. Okay, from my original 167, whatever it was. Okay, let me check the right file format. Yes, I am. Okay, so now we can load Proxy Professor, because these, they're genuine proxies. They're real proxies, but they're proxies. They're free proxies. They'll have mixed results. Some of them won't be Manta friendly, for instance. So we can sort that out. Let me get that back. Oh, there we go. So what I want to do is I want to verify them against Manta. So I'm going to go to verify. I'm going to go to direct check. I'm going to go to Manta. Note that every time that I choose a new Manta, I get a different search string. So again, we're all using different searches, so we're getting different footprints, or rather there isn't a footprint that's happening. Okay, we're verifying against Manta to make sure that they're Manta friendly. We go to main options and files. Okay, because I'm doing a Manta check, it's a single file. Very, very important that you set this file name. Okay, I'm going to call it Manta verified .txt in that folder there. Good. Okay, so I've set that file. Let's just double check. We're doing a single Manta verify, so it's a single file. It's going to that file. Okay, now I could have done the Proxy Professor, automatic magical thing going in here and all of that kind of thing under Web Spider, but I'm just going to do it the normal bulk standard way. I've got a proxy list. Let's see if it's any good. So we're just going to go to the main options files. I'm just going to load the input file. It was called video output. There we go. Sorry, my screen Chrometoad is always in the way. Just load that in. It's only going to check it once, because I'm not doing a sort of backwards and forwards kind of thing. That's basically that done. So we've done that. So just to recap, we've set the verify options to Manta. Okay, every time I change that, it's going to give us a different string to verify against. Main options, we've set the output file. It's a single. It's going to that thing there, can't speak now, video Manta verified, and the input file is the file that I've taken from Proxy Multiplier, or Proxy Spider, whatever you want to call it, which I started with 167 and I ended up with 54,000 unique. Okay, now they're not all going to be good for Manta. They might be good for something else, but not for Manta. So that's why we're verifying them against Manta. Let's do what Proxy Professor does, which is that. So instantly it's already found 20 of those which are Manta friendly. Okay, it's done about 1,500 of them. It's found 31 that are Manta friendly now. Okay, so let's see how it does. I'll pause the video. It's going to be quite quick, but I'll pause the video anyway. Okay, so it's only been about 5 minutes. What I should have done is started a stopwatch so you could have seen it end to end. So I'll start it now. It's a bit late, but anyway. So I'm not sure when we started. So we've been doing this for about 10 minutes, I guess. So I've started that stopwatch now, so we can see what's going on. And if we look at Proxy Professor, of the 54,000 proxies that I multiplied from my original 178, it's found 1,820. Can't count them. 1,850. I'll never get ahead of it. Say 1,900 proxies. Out of the first 24,000, so it's about halfway through, and it's already found over 2,000 proxies almost, of the 177 that I put in, which are Manta verified, which is pretty impressive. So I'm just going to pause the video again. I'll leave the stopwatch running so you can see how long it takes end to end, and once we've done that, that list is ready to go into Mobile Renegade, and I'll show you the secret of Mobile Renegade. Okay, actually I missed it because I was busy editing a graphic, but anyway, so that's we're 13 minutes into the whole process, and what we have now in Proxy Professor is we have 2,685 Manta verified proxies from the 177 that I started with. Yee! Okay, and that's gone into a file called video output. Let's just check that that's there. Video output, there it is. Yep, let me just make a copy of that. So there it is, and if we open it up, it's in Notepad or something. There's Notepad. We can see we've got all the IP addresses and port numbers, and we have indeed got buckets of them actually. That's 54,000. Hang on. Is that not my clean list? 1 second. No, it should have said Manta verified. Sorry, that's that one. Is that what we said? The output file. Yeah, sorry, the output file is Manta verified. Beg your pardon. So Manta verified. There he is, and we open that one in Notepad, and there are all the IP numbers and proxies, whatever, and we can see we've got 2,685. Okay, so file format. Okay, so that's that done. Okay, so now we do the amazing thing. So I'm going to get rid of Proxy Professor. Boom, it's gone. Okay, now let's do Mobile Renegade. So this is where it's going to get potentially exciting, maybe. So we just load Mobile Renegade. Now this version might be slightly different to the one you have today. There'll be an update soon, and then you'll have one that should look more like the one that I'm showing you here. Let's say no to that, and we're off. Okay, so the first thing is that Manta is a bit weird, and it lies. So that's all very helpful. So I always start personally by going to there we are. I always start by going to Manta itself, just to make sure to see what they got. So let's say we're going to look for a cosmetic dentist. Okay. Okay, so as we're typing, we can see that they think that there's dentistry and dentists. Now if we look on their own thing for Los Angeles, they say that there's 2,995 whatever. Okay, if we go to Google and we check with Google what they think there might be there, so we just do mentasite.com. I'm just going to say quotes. Let's do Los Angeles, whatever, and oops, cosmetic dentistry. Okay, now Google says that there are 10,080 results, okay, in the whole of California, so it's not actually that big, but they're lying as always. So we just go to page 2. Anyway, if you go to the very top URL, sorry, I don't know why my microphone was up there, hope that wasn't too muffled. If you go up to the top of the URL, let me bring it down so you can see. If you go to the top of the URL, it says there 10, right? So you just change the 10 to something like 999, and it will show you. Hang on, let's do 700. Okay, 700. So you can see it's actually only gone up to 15 pages of 10 results. There's only actually 150. So they're lying. So Google lying about what it says at the top, because it's actually only 146. Now it forced its hand, and also Manta are lying because they say there's 2,905 and there isn't. Okay. So that's the first thing. So our expectations are a little bit wrong. So there's actually only probably just over 150 results for cosmetic dentist in Los Angeles, California. Okay, so the other word they had was I forget which one I did now. But anyway, let's just cosmetic den. Okay, so it was dentistry and dentist. So we just did dentistry. So let's try dentists. Okay, and 403 results. So they say there's less, but are they lying? So we can go to page 10, and there is a page 11, and that's it, 11. So there's actually 110 results. So they're lying about that as well. There's 101 results. So Google are lying. There's only 101 when they said there was 400 something at the beginning, and Manta are lying. Because they say that there was, actually we didn't check, did we? Let's just look what they think is in Los Angeles. They say there's 13,785, and this is not true. So maybe they're doing a broad search and they're searching for anything with the word cosmetic in it, or maybe they're doing bigger area than that, or maybe they're searching for any place that's got the word CN. I don't know what their thing is. So basically we need to be a lot more broad about it. So if we just do a dentist in the singular, okay, and we forego the the plural, just so interesting, let's see what they say for dentists. Okay, they say there's 11,708, and if we just do dentist, is it the same, is it different? It's the same. So they don't really care if it's plural or not, so they say there's that. Okay, but are there actually 11,708 dentists in California on Manta? Let's change our query. And there's only 3,000 according to Google, but Google are lying. So let me just try and show you this tip again. So basically if we go to the end of the search bar, you see it should say, sorry, I have to go to page 2 first. Go to page 2 first, so that we get the little word start at the end. And if we put in something like 700, maybe 800, whatever you got, we can actually see it only goes up to page 19. So 10 results per page is actually 190. Okay, 189 to be precise. Okay, so Google are lying. Everybody's lying. Anyway, that's what there is. So in reality that's what we're likely to get. So when you look at the Manta result and they say 11,708 dentists or dentists in Los Angeles, not really true. There's probably only 180 odd. Okay, now let's try the second thing. Let's try changing the area to be broad, because we changed the search term to be broad. Let's change the area to be broad. Let's just try Los Angeles. Okay, same kind of number. Let's try California. Way more. Okay, 39,400 in California. Okay, weird. Okay, so there's something going on. Now that would be a lie, obviously. So let's do our thing. Page 2, go to the end of the result where it says start, change the start to be something like record 700 instead of 10, and there is 55 pages, okay, but that's 55, that's the most we've had so far. Okay, so at 10 results per page there's 550 now. So a minute ago we only had 150, now we suddenly have 550 on Manta. And what we did, just to recap, I made the search term broad, I made the area broad. Okay, I made the search term broad, I made the area broad. Now obviously there's going to be some issues with that for you with targeting, but if they're a dentist, they're probably a cosmetic dentist. We don't really care where in California they are as long as they're in California. Anyway, that's the way we're going to get the most records from this. But again, so the moral of the story is Manta lies, Google lies, and we have to be very broad in the way we search in order to really get the most results. Okay, now we know this query, now we can go to Mobile Renegade. Because as you can imagine, if we tried to search in, cosmetic dentist in California, Florida, California, CA, then we would have got a handful of results, and we'd be wondering what on earth was going on. And that's what's going on. The results aren't there. So everybody's lying. So sorry to break that to you, but Santa Claus does exist, so that's okay. So here we go. So here's bog standard mobile Renegade. Go into options. Okay, this might be slightly different to what you've got at the moment, but don't worry, it will happen. I'm going to change that number up to 90 because that seems to be the number Richard recommends. I'm also going to change that up to 260. That's not so important, but I'll do that as well. I'm not doing anything restrictive. I am doing Manta. And now we have. So we had to pick the broadest phrase, which was dentist. I can try cosmetic dentist, just set that for a laugh. I don't think it's going to come up with anything particularly. And then we need to be very broad about the things. We can put California in, but why do one state when we can do them all? So we're just going to load the list. Oh, sorry, hang on, there's one thing I need to tell you. If we use the USA database and we do Florida, okay, and we do whatever, we do cities, states, areas, countries, whatever we want to do. Let's say we do cities. Okay, it puts the search as Bostwick, comma FL. And the trouble is with Manta, comma.fl will give us terrible results because it's not broad enough. It's got comma and FL in it, and they can't seem to cope with that. Although they pretend that that's what they're searching for, and we use the word near and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work. So we get rid of that. So what we need to do is we need to load the special list. Okay, which you can get from Richard, or it'll be in the next version of Mobile Renegade. And what have I done with it? I didn't put it there. Sorry about that. There we go. No, where's it gone? There we go. Let me just copy that in the right place. So I'm just going to use the file called Richard States. So he's basically done the states. Let me just show you what the file is in the real world. It's just the names with no comma, no state after them, okay, or no, whatever it is, county, whatever the thing is. So that's what we're going to load up. Okay, you can see it's just the pure state names with no comma, no whatever the other thing is, area or county, whatever it is. Sorry, I'm not American. Whatever it is. So here we are with our stuff. We've done that. Okay, now we load our magic proxies. Okay, the ones we just found, and it was called Manta Verified. Okay, my cam change is always in the way. Okay, so there we go. We got all our nice tested proxies recently. Okay, we've got our keyword in. We've got our states in with no comma and stuff after it. Okay, we've set our thing to 90 there. Normally you should probably have maybe less threads than I have, but I'm kind of using the fairly powerful machine kind of for this, so that's okay. And then we just click apply. Okay, and we can see that it's looking like it's going to find 3,990, and we'll click start. Now if you remember, we had 55 pages of 10, so we're expecting about 550, and Mobile Renegade is going off to run it. Now there's an A and a BQ. Now let me explain the A and the BQ to you, because this is important. When A and BQ are both 0, it basically means it's run out of results. Let me say that again. When the A and the BQ are both 0, it basically means that Manta has run out of results. Now what happens is with the AQ, basically it goes to Google, it finds the keywords that are on Manta, and then it puts them in the BQ. And then when it's had a go at that, it then looks at the BQ and it scrapes the pages off Manta and actually gets the data to populate the fields. That's why you see it go from A to B, from A to B, from A to B. Okay, that's what it's doing. It's getting a bunch of stuff from Google, then actually going to scrape it off of Manta and then populating the fields, and then when it's done that, it goes back A to B, A to B, A to B. Okay, and as I said, when both A and B are both 0, it means it's run out of results. There are no more results it can pull. Okay, now The reason why we do that is if we try and search Manta directly, you can see that their search engine is nonsense. Even if you do a manual search, you'll hardly get any of the results that it says are up there, and they proactively block people from scraping. So the fact that we kind of do it, or Richard does it by the back door, is kind of why we get any results at all. Okay, so you can see it's going A to B, A to B. Finally, it's gone through the B and it's scraping results. Already we've got 184 real-world results. Okay, it's all populated with everything we need to know. I haven't filtered it by anything. I can just export that, filter it in Excel when I want to as a CSV. But I know if the page is claimed. I know who the contact is. I know their phone number. I know the email if they've got an email. I do have the email digger on. I didn't show you that box. I won't do it right now. There's a little tick box to just have the email digger on, and it will go and do the digger. Now I've got less threads and different timeouts for my mobile checking and my email digging, so those results are going to come in after the main Manta results. Okay, so I'm going to have to let it run after my MB have gone to 0, because I'm still populating the mobile and the email digging. Okay, so let me just say that again to be clear. When A and B are 0, both 0, it means there are no more results on Manta. Okay, so that it will stop scraping. But if you have the email digger on, or you're looking for the mobile web presence, then they're going to populate at a different rate with a different query, which, as far as I know, I mean, maybe Richard might correct me, but as far as I know, they do not show up in the A and B results. So really you need to wait until until it really seems to be doing nothing, this blue line, whatever, and this one, to make sure that you've actually got all the mobile and email digger results that you can get. Anyway, you can see it's pretty quick. We're already at 200 results. Got 8 emails so far. As I say, I'm doing that a lot slower than the rest, so they're going to expand up as we go on. Alright, so I'm just going to let it do its stuff. I'm going to pause the video again for a second rather than keep you waiting, just for the record. Where's my stopwatch? There we are. So we spent half an hour on it so far. We had about 10 minutes before I started the stopwatch. Sorry about that. So it's taken us about 40 minutes end to end to get as far as we had. Naturally, the proxies we have we can reuse, so we won't have to do that bit again. So it'll just be however long Mobile Renegade takes to do what it's doing. So already at 236 results. Still at 8 emails, but we'll see what happens. Still got an A and B queue, so we know it's happening. The mobile presence and the emails are going to pop at a different rate because I set them in a different number of threads, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, so here we are. What's the time now? Right, so about 40 minutes, and basically it's Mobile Renegade has done its stuff. It's still going to be pulling in the mobile website stuff and a bit more email digging because that on a slower number of threads, but it's basically finished from. Oh, I thought it finished from Manta because I had a 0 A and a B queue, but it's just found some more. Anyway, I pretend that it's finished. So if they'd both been 0, it would have meant it's finished. And at 40 minutes in, basically we've found 693. That's more than the kind of 500 that I was expecting from verifying it in Google. And we've got about 10% of those have got emails, so that's not so bad. It's actually happily working away, so I'll let it do its stuff. But obviously, as you know, what we would do is we'd go to controls and export. I won't clear that, and we would put it in there. Okay, was it 693 or something? Okay, actually it's CSV. Okay, and then we've got a CSV list. To do what we want with. We can sort it any way we want in Excel. Do whatever we want. Set up a call list, all that thing. So actually it's found 700 records now, so it's still going. So I'm going to let that do its stuff. But I mean, for this demonstration, that's kind of about enough. And there we go. So what I need to tell you is just two important things. So if when you start the query you don't get many A results, or your A results go from a very high number to a very low number, and you're not getting any B results, and it's going high A number and down to a very low number of A results, that kind of stuff, it probably means that your query is wrong. So either the keywords or the locations are not being found in Google. That's basically what the A list means. So if it's not being found in Google, it's probably because you've got the wrong search term. Maybe there aren't, maybe you've misspelt the keyword, maybe there aren't that business in that state, maybe you've put the state wrong, maybe you've put something that isn't understandable by Google, in some way that you've put the state or the county or something, that kind of thing. So if your A list jumps wildly, then basically it's probably because you got the query wrong. Now, if your B list does not appear fairly quickly, so if it does not go from the A list to the B list, that basically means that your proxies are suspect. In which case, you should probably rescan your proxies, verify them against Manta again, reload the list in, and do it again. It's also worth checking, just in your browser, to go to Google, make sure that you're not manually blocked for some reason, and the proxy bleed isn't happening or something like that. But basically, that's it. So if you're not getting A results, or your A results are jumping about wildly, then double check your queries. If you're not getting B list results very quickly, or at all, then it's probably that your proxies are suspect and you need to rescan them because they're exhausted for some reason. And that's it. So they're the most important things to tell you. So as you can see, we've got 700 odd results, 64 emails, about 10% emails. It's still kind of going. It's still pulling all this other data in because of the threads I had. You see, it's fairly painless. Okay, the secret, and we've done it in about 45 minutes. So the secret of getting 700 results, start to finish. I mean, remember, next time we do it tomorrow, we won't need to scrape the proxies in again, because the proxies can stay there and be reused until it it does get exhausted, and then we need to go and get some more proxies. But as you can see, getting proxies is very, very quick if you use the proxy multiplier method. Now obviously in Proxy Professor you've got at least 3 other major ways of getting proxies, including its own web scraper and the port scanning, but I think overall the proxy multiplier is the easiest way of doing it. As you saw, I can't remember what it was now, but no, I've completely forgotten. Whatever it was, a couple of 100,000 results from my original 167, and that still came down to 54,000 which were unique, and then that 54,000 still came down to actually I've completely forgotten how many actual Manta friendly proxies. Manta verified, where was that? There we go. It still gave me, from my original 177 or 67, what it was, 2,685 Manta friendly proxies. Okay, and it did that in, I don't know, we didn't time that bit, but in something like 10 minutes, which is just insane. Then obviously we do need to put them into Proxy Professor to to verify them. Excuse me. And then they're ready to go in Mobile Renegade. Now, as I say, if we hadn't got an AQ, or the AQ was jumping wildly, it's because our query was wrong. As I told you about the query, you need to be broad. Also, be very realistic about your expectations. Manta lie very much, and Google lie very much. Okay, we always kind of knew that, but there's the living proof. We're getting more results than I thought. Just as an aside, remember I put dentist and cosmetic dentist in. Most of the results are indeed dentist. Almost 500. There are a few cosmetic dentists. Might have added maybe 100 to my search, something like that. Maybe they're duplicates. I don't know until I do the a dedupe on it, but you know, it was worth putting in as an experiment. But you know, cosmetic dentist, you know, that would have been all that it brought in for me. Okay, just the 100, not the 700. And that's the point. So we have to be quite broad in that, and also the key, absolute key with Manta in particular, or Manta especially, is the location needs to not have commas and areas or counties or whatever they are after them. Just the state names. And again, state names seem to bring in more results than cities or zip codes, even though that shouldn't be the case, because you know, cities and zip codes are more specific. With Manta, it doesn't seem to give more results. By all means, you know, play around with it yourself and see if you can, you know, beat the house, whatever you want to call it. But you know, generally the states, just the raw states, just the state name, nothing after it, no comma, no county or area. That seems to work best with Manta. Okay, but in 45 minutes, yeah, we've got, well, actually it's a bit longer now, but we've got 753. You see the emails have jumped up to 89, so that's more than 10% now. That's because the email scraper, so the email digger is, you know, happily going along in the background, filling in these fields as it's, you know, gets enough threads. Obviously, well, not obviously, but you know, I wanted to give the actual Manta bit the most threads, and then, you know, it can do its own stuff with the mobile ready and the email digger, because that doesn't affect Manta you know, at all, basically. So there we go. So I hope that's helpful. I didn't just want to you know, say, whoopee, I got a load of results today, you know, in much greater time than normal, you know, because my normal results were you know, something like 5,000 if I left it on, you know, completely overnight, yeah, for 24 solid hours. And you know, although that was good and good enough, you know, it wasn't as quick and as remarkable as, you know, what we're doing today. So Richard took me through some stuff today. He gave me access to this slightly different version with the BE figure now, which he added to get round you know, some VPS issues for Dexter and Nathan, whatever, and you know, that's benefiting all of us now, because it seems to make it a lot easier to configure. Okay, maybe it always was capable of doing this, but it's easier to configure now with that number. So that's it. So end to end, you know, we've done it, and we've got, you know, 750 odd results from Manta. All the, you know, details we need are in there. Over 10% have got emails, and the rest I can follow up, you know, with you know, by snail mail or you know, reps or whatever, or ringing them, of course, with the phone. That's a good idea, because the phone numbers are all there as well. Brilliant. Anyway, that's it. Hope that's helpful. Hopefully that makes it very simple. As I say, just to recap, magic rule: if your A list isn't going up, or it changes wildly, it's because your search term or your locations are wrong. Be very broad about your locations and keywords. If the B list isn't moving at all, you know, fairly quickly, then your proxy is a suspect, in which case you know, get some more or rescan the ones you have. And as I've shown you, the absolutely most blindingly quick way to get more proxies without any pain is to use Proxy Multiplier, or Proxy Spider as it's currently called. I'm vying for it to be called Proxy Multiplier, because that's what it does, it multiplies proxies. Earlier, before I made this video, I put 6,000 Manta verified proxies in, and I got over 500,000, that's 500,000 proxies out in about 2 hours. Okay, which I think is pretty astonishing. Now, obviously a lot of those were duplicates, and not all of them were Manta friendly, but I ended up with 20,000 Manta friendly proxies, you know, when I left it last. Okay, so pretty astounding, and you know, to get that many that work with Manta in 2 hours, I think is awesome. Basically, awesome. Yeah. There we go. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you then. Bye for now.